Hello, everybody. So, welcome to this interview. I am here with a very special guest. We're going to be talking about some things, including a video game that is currently in development. This is the CEO. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Hopefully, we can get a little bit into the story of what's been going on with their game, what's been going on social media, and how people have been reacting. And we'll just be talking about that today. So, before we get into anything else, just would love for you to introduce yourself to the people that may be watching, what you do, especially when it comes to video games, and where you're from and stuff like that. So I'll just give it away to you.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. As I said, there's I your video was directed to me by one of my employees, and I think you did pretty good job on reporting of what happened with farm folks during this challenging times. But yeah, so my name is Alex, and very thanks for having me. Um,
No problem.
I'm founder and CEO of Crytivo. We're pretty small indie dev studio and publisher based in Dallas. So I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
Originally, I'm from Turkmenistan. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard about the country
Oh wow, that's
like that.
crazy. How long have you
Yeah.
been in Texas?
In Texas, I actually moved from California year and a half ago. So yeah,
Oh
so
wow.
not that long. I spent around, I would say, it's like 10 years. Like in total, I've been in the United States for close to 15 years. And
Oh wow.
my family won a green card, and I moved here when I was 20. And
Oh wow. That's
yeah,
really interesting.
yeah,
What kind of led
it's
you?
been a turn. Mhm.
No, please go ahead.
No, go ahead, ask questions. Yeah, please.
Well, I was gonna say, since you've been in the United States for about 10 to 15 years, as you said, how
Mhm.
what kind of got you into wanting to develop a video game? Is that something that you had to come here to do, or?
No, not really. So as I said, so the reason why, basically, like, we lived in Turkmenistan my whole life, right? Like I was like 20 years old when we moved here,
Mhm.
and there's a thing called green card lottery. So it surprises a lot of people that it exists. So it's
Wow.
actually, people can fill out their applications, and once a year, like I believe like more than 50,000 or around 50,000 people win like a lottery
Yeah.
for the citizenship in the United States. And back at that time, I did just that, and we were surprised with the package that arrived that was saying that congratulations, you won.
That's
And
insane.
that
So
was
you
pretty
won.
shocker. Yeah, I mean, it was great move, like big move. And yeah, my family, we decided to come in. It was very tough, very challenging, because of the culture differences.
Mm.
And back in Turkmenistan, I kind of like was doing okay. I started working relatively young. I was like 16-year-old, and that's when I became a branch manager of the company called Kodak. You guys probably know, they print photos.
Yes,
And
sir.
yeah, and I've been doing okay. So a lot of fun. And then when I moved in the United States, it kind of like felt like going from hero to zero, right? Like it's like starting over. My English was it's just like a school level. Like I've been like having some lessons in school, and like you guys take Spanish here, for example. Like
Yeah.
that's the level of language. And yeah, I was working as a medical van transportation. I was a busboy in restaurants and things like that. And then and I also love like I'm a visual designer myself as well. So I love, that's my experience with Kodak. So when I work at that
Oh,
company, I work a lot on photography, and I love Photoshop, right? Like, so I have pretty good skills, and I started doing actually YouTube videos. So you guys can find my YouTube channels if you type my name, Alexander Koshelkov. Um, and I have a few viral ones that went viral, and that was at the back at the times of, like, if you remember, FPS Russia. There was like PewDiePie, and there's like that, like old
yeah.
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And one of my videos actually exploded while I was like in the United States. So basically, what I was doing, I do a lot of like photo manipulations or collage or whatever we call. So basically,
Yeah.
just some goofy videos where airplane crashing on a highway and adding the music to it and things like that. So it's kind of a long story, but it leads to where I am today, right? Like I hope you don't mind
Yeah.
me going through that. But
Not
basically,
not
yeah,
at all.
one day one of my videos took off because I was doing it for myself, for my enjoyment. So I was doing it for nice comments that I've been getting from people where they've been praising me and appreciating all my hard work. And
Right.
I didn't get any payments, right? Like so I was doing it like on a monthly basis, investing kind of like my soul into it. And then one day I wake up, my phone is super hot, right? And I was like, "What's going on?" And it vibrates, and I check all the email notifications because it was not that like it didn't took off before, right? And I wake
Mhm.
up and one of my videos is actually went viral, and I started
Wow.
accumulating a lot of friends on the Facebook. I actually reached the Facebook friend limit. I believe they have like 2,500. I'm not sure if that changed. It's either
How many
25.
views did you, on your
Yeah.
video, how many views did you get on that thing?
Yeah, it's I think like today it sits at like 5 million, but it
Woo.
was going through like at that time, like in a short period of time, I think that it got to like 2 million. And again,
Wow.
YouTube was like different kind of YouTube than what it is right now. It was like pretty big deal. I was working actually at company in United States. I was doing actually good. It's like I moved from medical van transportation to uh, I was like a loan officer, so
Oh,
selling
okay.
loans at company called One Main Financial. That's a like Citibank branch, and we've been selling loans with like 36% interest rate. It's nuts. So
That
yeah,
is pretty insane. You're
yeah.
also gonna have to I'm gonna have to get your by the way, your link to your YouTube channel afterward, and I'll be
Oh, you
putting that
don't
in the
need to. That's
description.
actually like the collecting dust for so long. It's like if anyone interested is like, yeah, I will drop you a link, but like it's not something that I invest my time or effort. It's kind of like my historical achievement that's sitting there. It's like it's like in a sense,
Yeah,
you
that's fair
know,
enough. No, that's fair enough.
yeah. Mhm.
So how did you get so you said that after your video went viral, you started getting calls and being able to talk to people. Is this how you would say you got into, making video games?
Right. Long story, right? Yeah. So
No, not at
basically,
all.
uh, I mean, honestly, it is, but it's fine. So basically, yeah, it started going viral. Um, some people reported me that like they saw my work actually being printed on their like morning magazines in their country, in like Germany and stuff like that. So it was pretty crazy, and
Yeah,
that's how I started accumulating like fans or followers, right? And that's actually what helped me to get in the game. So I was doing that. After that, I continued doing a lot of like Photoshop manipulations and things like that. I because of that, so I moved in my kind of like career path. So going from medical van transportation, not fun job at all. It's
mm,
it's very meditating. You drive a lot, but you have to push like different kind of people during the winter. I lived in Wisconsin, Milwaukee back then, and you got like knee high snow, and you have to push massive wheelchairs in back in the van and
right.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and slowly I was like kind of climbing. Right, it was like really hard, very challenging times. And because of those videos, then we moved in San Diego. Not because of those videos, we moved in San Diego, and I started applying to kind of like to the things that I really wanted to do. Is like and that was like advertising companies, and
What year would you say that you moved there?
oh man, I wish like knew their year. It was um I can't. It's like don't know. It's like it's probably around like 7 years or 8 years. But basically, I have some years for you to work with. But yeah, so I moved there and got hired to second biggest. I think it's the second or third biggest advertising company in San Diego, and I
Okay.
worked there for several years. I had the opportunity to do some freelance for Apple as well, but yeah, and what like actually how I got in gaming, right? Like, well, I love playing games as we all do. It's like it's something
Yeah.
that like really fun and things like that. Then I learned about Kickstarter, right? Like back then, the Kickstarter was relatively new, and I was sitting on the sofa and I was like, how about like I create the game? You know, I was like, I have this cool idea. There's a back then the game was trending called Plague Incorporated. You probably know
Mhm.
about that. That's about like coronavirusing the entire world.
Uh, Yep, I did play that quite a bit.
Yeah, and I loved it. Is but I kind of thought is like such an like immersive experience. It's like such a simple design, but like how about like I make the game kind of like that, but in the reverse, right? Like instead of murdering and killing everyone as fast as possible, you actually start with little life, you know. And
Right.
that's when I came up with the idea for the game that we just recently released. It called the Universum. So we worked on that game for a very long time. Back in 2014, I launched the Kickstarter for the game with no experience in game development at all.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I just built a team. My following base helped me to get there. You know, it was like I found like pretty talented people. We put the Kickstarter together, and in 30 days, we rose close to $400,000
Oh, wow,
on
that's insane.
yeah, on the Kickstarter, and that's kind of how it changed for me, right? Like so, and then I've been getting some requests from indie developers. We've been helping them with like for free for a while
Right.
we're developing the game. They come to you and they're like, "Hey, how do you do this?" And up until today, we're actually very integrated with the Kickstarter. So we have a lot of projects that we help to launch Kickstarters, and
Oh, that's cool.
I'm very proud of our track record. You know, because like we launched like a lot of projects. I don't know exactly the number. It more than 10, less maybe than 20. So, but close to 20.
Mm.
And like 80 to 90% of those projects are either released or in healthy production. There are some projects with issues where we're helping them still. Is like well, actually, Farm Folks is one of those projects, and
Okay, okay.
we rescued it, right? Like so, like the like original developers couldn't deliver the project, and we've been kind of like mentoring it, and was like, guys, how about we take it away this hustle from you, and we will continue developing it ourselves because we're wrapping up with our like current game, the Universum, which
Mhm.
sold close to or maybe a little over 500,000 copies on Steam. So you guys can like check it out and try it out. It's a
Excellent.
planet management god game, right? Like so that's the Plague Incorporated. So you start with just two people and your civilization grow. There's different eras and procedural worlds. You can fly different planets and things like that. We
So
learned
it's
a lot.
quite literally a reversal of
It,
a plague.
yes, but it kind of grew so much from the original idea, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like because Plague Incorporated is such a simple game, but Universum is 3D game with like little creatures that has like different kind of stats, and they
Wow.
change their like outfits through the time. So my goal with that game was kind of like I want to create organic experience. So I wanted you kind of to feel like you're playing with something that actually like live and breathe, you know,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was very challenging process. Like we didn't give up on the project, and I'm very proud of it. Is like if you will ask me, is like can you make the game better than that? Like through that time, I would say probably no. Is like it was kind of like I learned a lot. It was like
Yeah.
very challenging, and now we are working on the Farm Folks, and I feel very strong and very confident because like we learned so much and we have so much experience, like well, 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily a programmer myself, but like I'm director, right? All my life I was a creative director or director. I love creating things. And yeah, it's like we built like a very talented team that works on the Farm Folks right now.
Did you mention that the game was inherited, or was that the previous game, and this game from scratch? Just to
No, this
clarify.
the history of Farm Folks that like I'm surprised that nobody touching on that is that so it there was original developer team that the launch a Kickstarter, and we've been helping them as well with the Kickstarter, and they rose like I believe like 70,000 Australian dollars, right?
Okay.
And unfortunately funding was kind of like mismanaged, or there was some difficulties during the development, and developers ran very dry, you know, it was like out on funding,
Mhm.
and with almost like no progression, right? Like in development. And we're like, guys, it's like we appreciate all the fans, like we see that like people love the game and things like that. How about like we just get it from you and we continue developing it, and we actually bought an IP from them. And
Oh, wow,
we
okay, so they worked with you to get that from them so that you guys could keep pushing it forward.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, so, concerning your team for that game, how many, or how much of your team remains from the old days when you guys were making your Universum?
Um,
Just out of curiosity.
no, it's really good question, because it is kind of like, because like we're indie, right? The process is very challenging, and a lot of times people come and go, for the good reasons. In like through all this time, right? Like through my like 10 years in game development, um, I'm really like proud of like my team. So in a way
Yeah.
that like we almost didn't have like bad people in team where we had to like kind of like stop our cooperation when there was conflicts or something like that. But sometimes they find like better places. Like few of my previous employees from San Diego went to like AAA companies to work for them because they build an experience. But to answer your question, um, I don't know. Like I can't like probably recall how many exactly, but we have several people that have been working with us for at least more than 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years,
Quite a while.
probably. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and again, it's like we're very connected. I mean, I usually tell them, guys, it's like I'm proud of the teams. Like we're kind of like asshole free team, So in the way, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So of course we have like some challenges, as everybody is like in this kind of business, but um, it's a pretty cool team. Yeah, very proud of them. It's really good guys.
That's really good. So you guys
Yeah.
were able to put this so you guys have put this game together. You've been working on it for how many years now?
Well, that's why the how many years question on the Farm Folks is a little bit complicated, because we
Okay.
been working on the game for not the full speed. So overall, we worked on it for like a little over 2 years. But because we had our first game, Universum, so not the whole team been working on it for this time. So it kind of was in pre-production for, I would say, it's like maybe year and a half, and we released the Universum, our first game, just a few months ago, and now team is kind of like maintaining the project of the Universum, like fixing bugs and issues and stuff like that. And most of the team is kind of like migrating to the Farm Folks, and that's why it's like our progress is much stronger, and we
Okay.
can share a lot of content. Yeah, hopefully
Yeah,
that makes
so
sense.
I've actually been in so I've been in your Discord just checking out, like, the chats and the
Mhm.
things that people say, and it seems like most people in
Yeah.
your Discord are pretty optimistic about the game. It seems like they all have a fairly positive attitude, at least the people who stick around and, engage, like, you guys are always engaging with each other. And I wanted to ask before we get into kind of some of the features was,
Right.
how deeply has your community feedback helped shape the game over the years? Because you've mentioned before that you guys are very community driven, or at least
Hmm.
you've mentioned that community feedback is really important to you.
Right.
And seeing how engaged you are with your community in your Discord, I was curious myself to see how much of your game has been shaped by all of the feedback you've gotten, and how much of it has been retained from the original vision that you guys had when you started.
Um, well, basically, that's true. It's like, first of all, it's like we have super awesome community that we're inherit at first, and it grew so much. So it's like it was like much smaller community back when we joined.
Okay.
And today, yeah, it's like, obviously it's like, again, it's like it's a very friendly community, and like we almost never have like kind of problems. Like we occasionally get some kind of like
It
spam
seems pretty
bots and things like that.
conflict free.
It was 100%, like almost 100%. It's like, to be honest, it's like maybe even like 100%. It's like it was like very nice and very like communicative. Like we share content. I'm a very vision driven person, right? Like, so
Hmm.
when I even argue with my teams, like, it's because like it's like everybody's like in the team are game designers in a way, right? Like we all
Yeah.
have a great ideas, and it's really hard, but I usually tell them, guys, it's like, this is my decision. I take credit for bad
Mhm.
or good, right? But I want to make the final decision on something that we do, and that's how we roll. But then we take some of like kind of like low level decisions to our community. Sometimes even like sometimes bigger things, but like we like
Right.
sometimes community, like we had a little bit of friction when we shared like logos that we wanted to update the logo for the game, and community chose the one that I
That you like the
professionally
least.
couldn't accept, right? It's like,
Right.
and I was like, guys, sorry, it's like we're not going that way. It's like,
It's like, "They really picked that one? Really? Like, come
yeah,
on."
well, it was like a little bit like divided. There's like some of our artists like also the different logo, and I just decided like, guys, let's go with a simple one. I just like super simple, like without any kind of craziness on it, easy to
Right.
use, and stuff like that. But hopefully, we're not derailing from your question, and I hope I answered.
No, not
If
at all.
not,
No, I think it's important to have this the context.
sure.
And yeah, it's so when you guys have been developing this, like has your community over the years been like super helpful and engaging and even helped contribute to some of the changes?
Yes, like matter of fact is like what you guys saw with the controversial post, right? That's like not an unusual thing. We
Mhm.
do that all the time. Not the controversial part, it's like, but the
Right, but
part where we,
even like the development process, like, since we're
yeah,
on
yeah,
that, I
it's
mean,
like to be honest, like we're not really like bragging about it, right? Like publicly,
mhm,
but what we trying to do is to release update once a day at least, right? Like with
okay.
content update or something. And it's like that's been happening for like the time when we started like actively developing. It's like every day we release something, like either some kind of assets or some kind of like communication engagement with fans about like some
Mhm,
kind of like solution. So it's like full time, it's like, so it's not something like, it's not a hobby, it's like we're very invested. We like, this is our flagship, right? Like, so we want this game to be something special. And um I see that like when the controversy happened, a lot of people jumped on assumption that um another farming game, right? Like, and that kind of hurts because the assumption comes from the game name, right? Like, so
right.
in a way, why it hurts is like I love like all those games. Like, there's a great games like Coral Island and like similar games to that. But
Yeah.
what we're really trying to do is we trying to build something much bigger, right? Like, so the goal is to create a diverse world where you can play. So it's open world multiplayer, right?
Okay.
And that has uh, great emphasis on farming. So, but it also, what we're doing is like we're bringing automation to it, right? So it's like
Mhm.
kind of like we're mixing, because we're a game publisher as well, right? Like, so
Okay.
we've been helping indie developers because we have some great knowledge. And at some point in the past, we decided like, guys, everything that we do is like we either do for free, or it's like it seems like we're doing publishing. How about we
Right.
start doing publishing, right? And we start doing publishing. And so
So you
yeah,
guys are self-developed, self-published right now. Is that my
zero
understanding?
investors. Yeah, it's like nobody's driving us. It's all my stupidness. That's it. It's just it's just like it's hard. Like it's been hard. It's like it's not an easy business, and especially now the wars are like raging. It's like
Right, right.
you have to be very careful with what you say, what you show, and things like that. But I mean,
Well, yeah,
we're pretty
w
relaxed with everything that we do. It's like we're trying to stay honest, right? Like, so yeah, please.
yeah, that's my understanding is that you guys are trying or have been trying to be, communicative and
Mhm.
honest about it. And one thing that I've mentioned in the past, like, in stuff that I've made and people I've talked to is that, this kind of stuff is really tough to navigate, especially when you can get caught in the crossfire from anything that's trending. That can kinda happen sometimes. But you mentioned that, this I thought that was a really good segue into this question because you were talking about how you didn't really think it was fair for people to just write it off as just another farming sim.
Not
And
only fair, because some reporters been reporting it like that, where there's like the attaching word cozy farming, right? Like where we not even
okay.
using that word in
Yeah,
the
I've heard that
description for
term,
our game,
cozy
right?
farming. I've actually, yeah, I've never really heard that word or that term before you guys.
Cozy.
The cozy. Yeah, what's the
That's
difference
very,
there?
well. I feel like in the cozy games, and I might be incorrect with that, and hopefully they're not going to cancel me for for offending that term or something. But I feel like cozy is the game that you're experienced in kind of like relaxed mode, right? Like so, it's
Okay,
calm. It doesn't have too much adrenaline moments in a way, it's like so
right.
it's pretty much like it's almost self-explanatory, right? Like so it's cozy, it's calm, like nice music, you play it like that. But the farm folks, um it can be cozy. So that's the thing, is like I'm not saying that we're not cozy. You can play it cozy, right? Like but we're developing it kind of like to be to offer diverse experience to how you can enjoy the game and how you can play it, because yeah.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah,
makes
because
sense.
you guys have other, features that you have in mind for this thing. Because I think if I recall correctly, you have ghosts in your game, right? You have ghosts
Yes.
in your game.
So, yes, basically, we're. I will tell you a little bit more about like the game. So I promise to be really quick about it, and but
Yeah,
so I will start from the beginning, right? Like so,
sure.
Farm Folks is an open world multiplayer game where we combine some genres, right? Like so, this is the world where you spawn as a person, and we trying to pretty much evolve everything that people used to, right? Like in farming games, like you like all familiar elements, we trying to expand on them, right? Like so our
Okay.
world is very big. It has um seamless weather transitions, right? Like how in most of the games, like games like Stardew Valley, or it's like other games, like you have to go sleep, the game loads, reloads, and all that kind of stuff.
So
Farm Folks is
lucky for you, my wife actually does play Stardew Valley.
Sure, sure. It's like, I'll send her a key when it's ready for evaluation. Yeah, no, there's like a big communities. Like a lot of our fans love that game, and I think it's really something special. So we definitely like listen carefully, because like we want to make sure that because it's a delicate question, right? Like so we want to make sure that the fans that we get
Yeah,
actually get what they want from our game, right? Like, so that's what I'm saying is like the cozy part, I'm not eliminating it, but it's such a limiting um, description for the game that we're making, right? It's just like
right,
one part of it is like you can enjoy the game calmly, because we plan to have like different options for you. And as you said, for people who enjoy a little bit more and want a little bit more action, they're going to be like ghost hunting. So we
yeah.
call them phantoms, and you can team up. It's a multiplayer game. You can team up and go catch them in forests and
That
things
sounds
like
pretty
that. And
fun.
yeah, and there will be like actually PvP. So I just like we kind of wanted to share it a little bit later, but I got like a little bit sentimental maybe like during this times, and I shared it with our fans that basically how you engage, because there's a PvP mode where you actually combat other players. So we're developing system where you can jump. So basically it takes you in the future of farm folks, right? Like so you
Okay.
build farms, everything is nice, everything is cute. It's like you can plant eggplants, they grow, the season change, everything in real time. You have like rain, you have wind, everything is dynamic, right? It's very organic, very dynamic. Like so much love goes into that. And so you build all of that, and then you decide like, hey, I want to experience action, right? And
Right.
that's again optional. Like we have a lot of ladies that wouldn't want to do that probably, and we understand that. So just have the way you want it. But some of our players express need for that, or like they want to experience like a little bit more action, and I myself are very excited about it. It's like this is kind of like my direction. It's like I think it's going to be really cool. And basically you travel in the future. What happened technically in the game is we keep the whole map of the world, but everything is aging on that map, right? Like so it's aging. You kind of like traveling to the imagine Skynet, right? Like
You
so.
just went to post-apocalypse land.
Yes, but it's not like super grim. It is in a
Okay.
way. It's like a little bit more realistic-ish. It's like it's
Mhm.
kind of like extraction mode, right? So you actually jump in the future, and the most fun part of it, we're still working on it. It might change, but basically, your structures that you build in your current world travels with you. So this is kind
Okay.
of like player driven map design in a sense, right? Like, so because all the players join from different parts of the map, and the things that they're building in the current time are actually traveling with you in the future. So if we play with you and you're like on a different team, I will see your constructions and buildings in my game when we join with you on that like massive map,
Very
so
interesting. So, like,
yeah.
you'll have a thing where players, if they wanna, like, for example, be in, like, a match together, whatever they've built in their land will just kinda show up invisible in
For
that
other
future
players.
land.
For
Okay.
other players. Yeah, and it will like there's gonna be some balancing stuff where it's like some of it will be collapsed, aged, like and things like that. But like you literally will see what you build in the future, right? Like so it's kind of like you walk in a time machine, a time capsule. We have some concepts for that, and it's in production as well. You stand down, it's kind of like hell divers, if I can say that.
What
uh,
so what
uh,
kinda combat how are we looking at? Are we looking about, like, laser guns to the face or, like, jump rope competition? Like, what kind of PvP combat did you guys have in mind?
Tomato throwing competition. Yeah, it's like no, you actually will have a weapon. We call them blasters, right? Like it's we're designing them to be familiar. Like they kind of look like modern weapons, like AK-47 and things like that. Like you
Yeah.
craft that kind of weapon, but they actually have special charges, kind of like there's some terms that we're still working on, but it's kind of like reverse liquids that you shoot. So they kind of feel and act like almost like realistic guns,
Okay.
But yeah, that's what you use against other players. And experience is pretty much it's kind of like I don't really want to say it, but like it's in a way it's like the closest one is like maybe like Fortnite-ish. So it's not like really
Wow.
battle royale, but you are like in a free world, and the world is pretty big. You can actually move
So
around and loot and come back. If you survive, you actually can bring something back to
that's
your
really
current world. Yeah. Mhm.
that is really interesting. I think, like, right off the bat, I
Like right? And then it's like people say cozy. It's like yes, but
yeah,
there's
because it's really
more.
not just a farming sim game, is it? I mean, it seems like you guys are taking the
It
concept and you're
is,
trying
but
to
it's
stick true
not.
to it, but
Exactly,
you're also
yes.
trying to expand upon it
And there's
with
so
different
much
features.
farming. It's like because I can
Yeah.
talk that much about what we do for farming as well. Because
Yeah,
like
it's
we're doing like a lot of dynamic stuff. It's like you till soil. It's like everything is so dynamic. Like we water plants, things getting super wet. Like again, this is like our love letter to our fans, and this is
okay.
where we invest all of our knowledge. Is like again, it's like I'm creative person myself, and like I want to scream with this, right? Like this is my chance
Yeah.
to do that. So and I
Yeah, and
hope,
considering your
yeah,
considering
yeah,
your background and history, in the industry and just where you've gone to, to now, it makes perfect sense why you would be so passionate about bringing, the people something really enjoyable like that. So yeah, I totally see that. I
yeah.
understand
And
it.
I don't like really want to make games, right? Like in the future, I want to make a game, right? Like so, I want to make
Okay.
a game that's why like it's so ambitious, right? Like I understand that, like wow, you're just like everything that you're saying is like there's so much. It's like yes, but we're trying to stay sober with that as well at the same time, right? Like, so what we're
Right.
saying is like it's not just like I mean, we kind of like known for keeping our promises. I heard that a lot with Universum, and we delivered. It took us a little longer, like quite long, but like we didn't give up. Like it was hard. It was like we like again, you think that $400,000 is like a lot of money, but like for game development, it's like if you do like double A game, and like if I again call you guys to check out Universum just to check the quality, right? Like it's decent, right? Like not the best
Mhm.
game in the world, but like again, it was hard. Like it was like like we develop it with again procedural worlds, like the planet are like it was so hard, man. It's like it just
Wow.
yeah, don't want to even like go back.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
actually heard that
it
the
does, yeah.
procedural stuff is hard to develop. Would you say that that's true?
Um, Yes, mainly because like it's hard to control it almost, right? Like if you're like art director or creative director, it's like it gets at points repetitive, it's like, and you can
Mhm.
like, even though it's cool, but like it's kind of like same looking. That's like usually the challenges. But procedural, yeah, is like, especially like what we wanted to do with those worlds, like we needed to have like different biomes, right? Like each biome had like different kind of information. Like we wanted to make it bigger at first, but it was like so hard. Yeah, mountains and like all that kind of stuff. So
Oh, wow.
procedural is, if done right, is amazing, right? Like because it gives you so much more of like replayability. But
Yeah.
overall it is much harder to master it and make it like really good. And I will let people judge. Like I can't like really brag about that. It's like, of course we probably could have done things better, but like again, with the resources, with the experience, with the knowledge, with passion we had, it's like I'm proud of us, right? Like I'm proud of my teams. Like I think we still managed to get it there. It's like, of course there probably will be people like finding something that we didn't like fully delivered,
Yeah.
but then count what we over delivered because we added so much more on what we promised. So hopefully that balanced, and at the end, the most important part, I hope you enjoyed the game. Yeah,
No,
hope
that's
it's fun.
good.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
that's good. Well, since we're on the subject of difficulty, when because you mentioned a lot about terrain, this actually kind of plays into the post that was made so controversial lately for you guys. So
Mhm.
when it comes to character modeling and working on the physics of those characters, me being a gamer for a long time, I've found myself paying close attention to the type of development that that characters go through and the amount of work that you have to put into them. And I believe it's called soft body dynamics,
Mhm.
which that's part of the develop. This is a normal part of the development process for characters, is it not? Or is soft body a branch off of the general, body manipulation programs?
Well, there's certain things in the modern gaming that to me is almost like will almost break your experience, right? Like things
Mhm,
like footsteps on the sand. It's like it's such a small thing, but I feel like in the modern day, if you start playing the game, that like high fidelity game, and you run around on the beach or somewhere on the sand, and it's like your character doesn't leave a mark in the world. It's like world is not affecting, character does not affect your world. I feel like
mhm,
that's such an like immersive breaker. In a way, it's, of course the game still can be fun, right? Like that, like it's stupid, right? Like it can
right.
be fun, but because we're trying to do it right, it's like I'm kind of like going from far, just trying to understand why, like what's the reason behind of all of this is, like I just feel like it's very important, like for us to have, um and I said that earlier with in my different interview.
Mhm.
So uh, basically, even though it's like our game doesn't look realistic, but it is kind of realistic. Like we're trying to have realistic
Right,
features,
you
right? Like
wanted to add realistic features to an otherwise unrealistic game, and that's nothing new in video games. I mean, and I don't
and
mean like to, but it's just something that has been
and that's
done,
where I'm coming from. Is like I feel like that's needed for modern game. Actually, it's like because your modern game will feel very stiff without it, right? Like
Right,
um and that's why again we're investing additional time in making the character hairs move, right? The hairs actually
right,
move based on your motion, based on the wind and things like that. We spend big amount of our time and effort on facial expressions, right? Like so, character is not just like staring like in nowhere. It's like,
right.
well, to recent times, our character were staring to like nothing, but like now they are pretty alive. But again, it's all like we're still working that, we're polishing, we're adding more, and then it's like, yeah, we come to the body physics. Some things make sense to apply that, right?
Right,
The controversial part that actually sparked all of this is female breasts, right? Which is again. we didn't go for any goofiness. Well, except we throw the joke about some of it, right? Like, but
Right.
the end goal is for us, basically, like what you or
So let me let
ask
me
me while
let
I'm
me
thinking. Yes,
let,
yes.
let
Like,
me ask.
tell me.
So because
Yeah,
when I read this post from you guys, because
yeah.
since we're on that subject, but
Dude,
when I
I would
read that.
say is like maybe explain your viewers what we're talking about. What they
No,
would
yeah,
no?
absolutely. So yeah, so I was gonna get into this anyway, but yeah,
Yeah,
so farm folks, they you guys made a post. I believe it was on the 26th or 27th, or it might have
Friday.
been, yeah,
Last
Friday. So
Friday. Hmm.
yeah, and you guys made a post and you were asking your viewers with a screenshot of three different set of female breasts in the game. You asked your viewers or your followers if they, I believe it was if they preferred one setting or the other. And then you guys added in an extra comment about the 150% thing, and that went that whole post actually went pretty viral. I think that about the time before
Not
we,
at first. Yeah, it was
not at
doing
first,
okay.
no,
It was like
it was
yeah.
it was like a steady climb, and then it blew up. And I think it hit about 750,000 something before you guys took it down.
Hmm.
So it had actually reached pretty far.
Yes.
Um, when I looked at this post, I just thought you guys were being cheeky and just being silly, but while also just kind of putting out there that you guys were manipulating body physics.
Right.
Um, Now there were people who were offended by that.
Right.
And I would say men and women were offended by that. But what I also saw, and what I think people fail to point out, is that you guys also had a lot of support from both men and women. Some women in there who were commenting, including a couple of women that I watch on social media and YouTube and stuff. They're content creators, as well as just other women. They were all A lot of them were expressing their support and just or their understanding about the humor of the post. Now, would you say that you guys were being humorous, or were you? What was you guys' intent behind that post specifically? That way, I don't put words in your mouth or anything.
Definitely, that was like the post was designed to be uh, cheeky, as you call it, right? Like
Hmm.
lighthearted, and that's as far as we go. It's like there's really there was no excessive strategy planning behind that. So as
Mm.
we discussed with you earlier, we usually do this kind of post, not like this kind of post, but this kind of post,
Yeah.
right? In the ways like we share content with our fans on a daily basis in our Twitter and Discord or X.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, if that also is like very
I
sensitive
just call
topic,
it
I would
Twitter
say.
X Twitter all the time. I switch back and forth.
Twitter is such a wholesome name. It's like it's so hard to get away from it.
Yeah, it's hard
Like
to get.
it's like
It is.
yeah, yeah. It's like so yeah, but um yeah, we share content with our fans all the time. And
Yeah.
we sometimes being edgy, right, with it. It's like we're throwing jokes or like with something. And yeah,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, we post that kind of we post that post on Friday. And at first, for the first few days, our community been having kind of fun, right? Like kind of what we expected, that like, hey, everybody will like. There was no plans to offend anyone, of course. It's like, why would we do that, right? Like,
Hmm.
we appreciate our fans, we love them. It's like the experience that we've been having is great. It's like there's nothing to improve, right? Like we don't want to change that. So
And,
it
and
was
and this is
already
the general sentiment that your Discord has usually. Like all the people who support you, they know this about you
absolutely,
and the
man. It's
team.
like, why would we do anything else, right? Like, why
Right.
would we? It's like again, it's not that kind of computer community. That's not like I don't know. It's like don't want to call anyone. It's like on
Yeah.
that
So
they will they will
and here's the
come. Yeah. Uh huh.
Yeah, because I totally I saw that other interview, and so this is really just a way to set the record straight and let you just speak without having anything twisted. Because, um,
Absolutely. That's why I have a conversation with you, and that's why
yeah,
I had the interview in my previous time, right? Like because like
you
I
just
don't
wanted
need
to
to
clear
be
things up.
prepared for this, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be honest and very open about it because again, yeah, like usually or you that's kind of bad case. Is like I don't have anything to hide. Not usually. It's
Hmm.
like there's nothing really to hide. It's like I'm expressing myself and I'm trying to be as honest as possible as you guys, right? Like so there's
Right.
like Ask away. It's like anything. It's like anything you want to know. It's like
Okay,
no
well, let's
problem.
go. Let's
Yeah.
go back. Then let's do this. Let's go back chronologically. So you
Yes.
guys made the post, and for the first few days, it was fine. Your community was fine. What
Mhm.
do you think kicked this off to where it started
To be
getting bad?
honest, I didn't even have time to get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
So what happened is on Monday, my coworker, she just like says like, "Hey guys, they're canceling us. They canceling us." It's like, what's
Oh
going
no.
on? And she's like, "Well, the post that we made on Friday is getting the traction, right?" And yeah, that's when I went to Discord, and that thing
Yeah.
was on fire, right? Like, so I was like there was messages going with the speed of light, right? There were like
You couldn't even keep up with it.
absolutely not. There was like few angry ladies that been sharing with us and with me their views on that, right? And they
Mm,
were very strong, and I was trying to be very respectful and trying to address that. And
mhm,
with every attempt that I had, I've been bombarded, right, with like with other questions, right? And then when I didn't have the chance to, or like even the chance is a good word to answer them, I've been called on not answering those questions while I had 20 other questions dropping in my head. And that felt like very intimidating and a lot of stress, right? Like, because like
mm,
it's so hard to analyze it while it's like I want to calm down you people that are upset. Like we
mhm,
trying to process it is like what's going on. And usually it's like the apology thing, right? Like I know that a lot of people get upset that we apologized, but I'm from the country where they teach us that apologizing is actually your strength, not the weakness, right? uh,
mm. Which
but
that's actually something I believe in as well. That it
I,
does not a
I
sign of
sincerely
weakness.
do believe that, but I also
Yeah.
understand where it's coming from. Like you don't want to apologize to like wrong people or people that intentionally wrong doing things and stuff like that. I do understand that, but under the pressure and stress is like again, usually as I said, is like in 99% of time I have no problem apologizing. You know, it's like and that's when I feel actually strong. It's like
Okay.
because I'm sorry. It's like I'm sorry you're feeling that way. I'm sorry that this is happening. If I'm part of it, it's like I'm sorry. It's like sincerely. It's like
Right.
it's like, and I was telling that even if we um, hurt two people, right? Like I have no problems. Like if that's sincere, is like I'm sorry. It's like we will try not to. It's like that's never
Right.
our goal.
And
And
you had
then
already apologized in your Discord. That was when you because you were trying to do an internal,
right away it's like
discussion.
I was like like my
Yeah.
my natural instinct would say, guys, I'm sorry that like this negativity is happening, right? Even to our fans that are there. It's like I'm
Mhm.
sorry that this is happening. Let me figure out what's going on. It's like of course we're going to craft the message. We'll tell everyone, but like it just been like so intense, and like we never experienced that kind of pressure, right? Like at that it's
Well,
like that intense. Yeah.
So I'm not going to try and throw anybody under the bus, but a couple of the people I noticed that were being so heavily critical, a couple of them had been in your Discord for quite a while. I'd say like a few months, correct? Were they like super involved in? Are they super involved in your community usually? And not to point anyone specific out, but like the majority of the negativity, for example, that I saw, because this was in the questions and answers portion of you guys' Discord.
Hmm.
Most of the negativity I saw came from people that didn't really seem to either know about the game or they have been around but seem to have a completely different view from you when it comes to this game. So I
And
wanted
maybe
to
even
see what.
didn't even cared about it. Yes,
So,
that's true. Yeah.
and by the way,
Mhm.
are those people still there now, or just because I'm curious?
Well, as I said, is it's been pretty intense week, right? And
Okay,
even today is like I was like, wow, it's like we chose such a bad timing in a way, but I'm feeling all right now. It's like because like I was like waiting for my interview with you, and I felt like,
right.
man, I'm so tired today. And hopefully, again, it's like hopefully, I was like my brain is not saying something silly that I will regret later.
No, I
I'm,
don't. I
I'm
think that you've actually been really on point. Just so you know.
Yes, thank you. Like, I live that life to, I will leave that chance to use if there's something like that's the problem. You see, is like I'm trying to be very honest, and sometimes like my expression can be a little bit misinterpreted, and the Discord thing can happen, right? Like it's just like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's like it
No.
just like goes like avalanche on you without like allowing me to explain, right? Like I don't have to like
Right.
you're not giving me time. You're not giving me opportunity to actually express myself because like with I and I was saying that with the previous interview as well is like my English is not perfect, and I hope, but at the same time I don't want to hide behind, right? Like so,
Right.
I will try to explain what I meant by that. And surprisingly, it's like I was reading some of the transcripts, and it was like there's so many. I would say it's like word yes that has
Mm.
been transcribed in that, and I was like, it's crazy. And, I
Yeah,
would
'cause
like
you
to
were trying.
apologize for that because it's like very hard to read. So I
Yeah.
hope it's okay to apologize for that. It's like I'm still trying to improve my speech. I'm learning language, and I hope again it's like it's not painful to
Yeah.
listen. Yeah. But
Well,
anyways,
I
back
think
on.
that,
Mhm.
a lot of people that, I think a lot of people that were critical, I'd say a good portion of the people who were critical of the apology letter.
Yes.
I think a part of that pushback is just not really having context of what's going on behind the scenes. And I think
Mhm.
another part of it is just that, a lot of people have been really turned off by the gaming industry lately. If you're familiar at all with Stellar Blade controversy and other stuff like going on with gaming consulting agencies and big corporations and money exchanging uh, what see, now I'm messing up, but
All right.
you
It's
got
late at
big
your place
corporate.
as well. It's like you were
Oh,
sharing
yeah,
this
it's
night,
super
right?
late.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, but you've got people all the way at the top trying to push a bunch of crazy stuff down, and so a lot of people are on edge. A lot of gamers are trying to keep on the lookout, for games that are doing this or games that are doing that, pushing a very unfortunate message that has been kind of destroying games internally. And so I think when they see that, like I'm sure that if somebody pointed out, even I had it in my thumbnail, they bent the knee to the mom, but
Yes.
there's more context there because it's not just bending the knee to the mob. There are other important factors here. There's intimidation tactics from people who you've probably never even seen before in your Discord, giving you insane vitriol,
Mhm.
and that completely turned your Discord upside down because you guys are used to a more peaceful environment. You guys are really just trying to have fun and develop a game. All of a sudden, you're having to deal with all of this negativity. And another thing I'd like to point out: some of your Discord members, either are either a part of, I don't know if how many of them are a part of your team or just people who have been
We have some
supportive of you.
community contributors, yeah,
Right.
like
Okay.
the
So
mods and the some people that
I've
support us
had
with
quite a
video.
few of them reach out, and they've
Mhm.
been really supportive and just worried that them saying something could get them in trouble, and that's something
Oh,
I wanted
I've
to
got
touch upon.
so many DMs from our
Wow.
community people that were afraid to post anything. They send me DMs directly, and they was like, "Alex, is like, sorry, this thing happening to you.
Wow.
We're kind of like on your side," and it's like, yeah, I have plenty of them. It's been so aggressive, towards us, and it just felt like very very stressful. It was like and it's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure. Like I have like new girl working with us on like doing some community management and stuff like that, and she
Okay.
felt very intimidated. It's like I couldn't like even come to her for any kind of advice because she's been shaking. It's like I was like, all right, like
Okay.
don't
Oh,
worry
that
about it.
wow, that really sucks. See, that's really
Yeah.
unfortunate. It really is unfortunate because, people, you have a vision, you have a game you want to do, and look, like people can try and make the argument all day, that you made that this post was super offensive, that but at the same time, that's probably one of the most tame things I've seen on the internet. Okay. The internet's a crazy place. Twitter's a crazy place. People say insane things. Okay. It's
That's
like
what
a lot of
actually
them.
surprises me in a way as well. Is like there's like a level of hypocrisy, right? If I
Yeah.
pronounce it right, it is kind of like feels at times very high, right? Like
Yeah.
so, people getting outraged by that, which is again is like This is this is kind of like we're talking about like the breast, right? Like so, it's like I
Yeah,
can imagine that somebody can get upset, right, about that because again, there's a cultural differences as well. It's
yeah,
and that's why it's like that's why it didn't feel that hard to apologize for that because like
okay.
they're like I sincerely think that there might be like somebody's like it's just like and it's not about like just jokes, right? And I think like you can be edgy and things like that, but like like I hear all of the criticism towards that as well. It's like I understand what those guys are talking about, and I agree
Mhm.
in the ways I feel like yes, like in the ways like we rushed it, you know, it was like, and but as you said, it's like the pressure was really high.
Yeah, well, and
The
I mean,
Mhm.
and if in reality, I mean, this post really is not even that bad. In fact, it's not even bad because even I've seen like even if I haven't seen like a
It
crap
was
ton of
designed to
vidocs.
be actually lighthearted. Yeah, it's like it was designed to be kind of like again, not to offend anyone. It's like and it's like I heard the question from my previous interviewer. She asked, "Is like did you guys intentionally plan that because of the Stellar Blade controversy, right?" And
Yeah,
the answer is like absolutely not, because it just like it seems like
yeah,
fortunate
but
or unfortunate it happened at the time,
well,
right? Like,
here's my
yeah,
response. Here's my response to that. So
yes.
it's like okay, let's say you did do it because of the Stellar Blade controversy.
Mhm.
So what?
I mean, I don't know. Again, it's like my point is
It worked like because if that
I'm
was a
trying to
PR
tell you
stunt,
what like sincerely what was the intent, right? Like and
sure,
like in
sure,
some of your points, like I would agree, but like my like I'm just saying like we didn't plan this shitstorm in the ways like right like so again
right, yeah, and I
in a way
understand.
it is like we understand that it's edgy, right? Like we did also the John Cena post. Like I don't know, it's like if you
Oh, I
remember,
didn't
there's
see that one.
yeah, the Oscar, John Cena, if you remember, he came out naked, right, on the scene,
Right, yeah,
and there was a post where we thinking about introducing this costume, right, and
mhm.
put and because that was a costume, right, like so there was a like costume reward or something like that, and we use that as well, and that slipped like nothing, right, like
So, oh,
and
you did not get pushback for that?
absolutely not. Like, I mean, maybe there was some comments that I missed, but, like, again, like, I would assume if it would be as bad, you would have heard of
Well,
it, you know?
apparently
Like,
naked
yeah.
John Cena is perfectly okay. So
Like, it's not apparently, that's a fact. You know, it's like, go on our Twitter, it's there. And
uh,
but at the same time, I feel like, again, we're not aiming for kids, right? Like, so our game is not designed for kids. I want it to be mature. Like, I want you guys to have fun with it. And the goal is for us to design tools. We don't want to be vulgar as well, right? Like, so we
right,
don't want to over exaggerate like the breast movements, or it's like we make a little bit of steps on being like little like cheeky and edgy with things like that, but like at the end product is not designed to be something like as like the words were used like overly sexualizing something, right? Like
of
so there's
course.
no intent, like we like no, we wanted actually to make elegant, nice, and maybe fun in some places, right? Like
Right, well,
not body places, but in some areas of the game. So I want you to have
yeah.
fun with it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and some of the criticism that I've seen is that it's not really the breast physics that are the problem, it's just the fact that you mentioned them, or at least that's an argument that I've seen passed around about it.
Yes, but I think like some people that just want to be mad don't even know what they are mad about. It's like what part of it. So I see
Okay.
like they just like can get mad about like maybe both sides, but like even with when I talk to I keep not like it's not intentionally. I'm just like kind of
Yeah.
grand reveal. We're going like moving towards Elisa, if I'm not mistakenly pronouncing her name, Elisa, right?
Yes, Alyssa, yes.
Alyssa. Yeah. So and even she agreed. It's like I because when we had an interview, I asked her, "Is like what are your thoughts on this?" Because like I'm very interested, and she says like, "Yeah, I feel like that's totally fine. You know, it's like having the breast movement in the game is absolutely okay."
Okay,
And
so
we're
where did that go wrong exactly? Where was it? So where was the mistranslation then? Because she did agree with you. I remember reading something about that. She agreed, but then she misquoted you, right? You were
Well, my quote
you
is
were
like,
you were
again, it's
misinterpreting.
like she didn't really misquoted it, right? Like, so
Okay,
the quote is clear what I was saying, but it's part of bigger conversation where I'm talking about. So it depends on what part of it we're talking about right now, right? Like the
okay,
quotes are from our conversation and they're direct. Like, this is the things that I said, but they've been represented in a way that I'm sending it towards different direction.
towards a specific demographic or group of
Right,
people.
right, right. And it seems like instead of covering my story, I felt like I was. I don't know if you want to give more context on that, but like, that's, again, is available. My statement is available on Twitter. I posted this morning, and yeah, I felt like I
So
was used as a tool in combating her nemesis instead of being actually used to clarify situation, right? Which is
right,
was important for me. That's the reason I have an interview with you, is to clarify what I mean. And like, I
yeah,
don't want you to like, from the hour and a half long interview. It was like, or it definitely was more than an hour. Take like 2 or 3 sentences, right, and use
yeah,
that from entire interview. Is like, and that's
yes,
why I'm saying is like, that's why is like, hey, I mean, that doesn't represent what I said, and that doesn't represent what I mean. I said that on my Twitter, and or I've been responding. Actually, I've been getting shitstorm of people that, like, you call us incels, and it's like, I was like,
right,
guys, let me Google what the word means first, because I didn't know. So, I'm sorry. It's like, so let me see what that means. And then there's like, no, I didn't. It's like, this is not what I meant, and it's um, like, and it was actually not directed to actually people who's been attacking me, you know.
right.
And I was like, this is not right. This is not what I meant. And I was like talking, and then she outreached me, and like, she sent me the message that I actually shared as well. So I appreciate, like, I kind of like value privacy, and I think like everything that I'm sharing is, again, like, very open. It's like
Okay,
she's sharing that as well. So, and she outreached to me, and she says like, Alex, you've been saying that it's misrepresenting things. Can you clarify? And I started clarifying. And I don't know if you want to go that far that fast, but like, I'm not sure. It's like, I can
no, please
continue.
go on, please go on, please go on.
Yeah, and I felt like, even when I was trying to clarify it with her, I was like kind of like pushed back. So my whole interview with her was, it was not really hostile from her side. Like, she didn't really attack me. It was like, I feel like it was, I think like we had like decent conversation, but I felt like, there's TV shows where you have to walk on a log, right? And
Yeah,
somebody's trying to push you from that log.
okay, yeah,
So that's exactly how I felt. It's like,
okay,
she's been pushing me and pushing and pushing. She wanted me to say some shit that's gonna get me in trouble, or that gonna get the other side in trouble, right? Like, or give her tools to show, like, you see how you guys are
you were
suck,
worried you were worried you were going to give her ammunition for whatever argument she
either
had going on.
ammunition, or get myself in trouble, right? Like, I felt
Okay,
like that was kind of like the end goal of the interviews, like and like, I was trying to be, again, sincere and open, and at the same time is like, I was pushed hard to take sides, right? Like, because I said like, hey, I mean, um, I don't really want to take sides. I mean, there's issues, and I can express my position on certain things,
okay,
but I don't need side, right? Like, so I don't want that. It's like, I don't want to be on somebody's side. It's like, I am not tribal. I'm not like, I have like, there's a lot of things that I agree with certain movements, and there's a lot of things that I don't agree. That doesn't
yeah,
mean that I want to take sides, right? Like, so, like, if that makes sense.
yeah, it does make sense. How did you and Alyssa's conversation conclude?
In a what
It
way?
wa How did you guys's? Because I know you guys talked. I think you talked one more time, and
Or you mean
but
after she outreached? Yeah, I think like we didn't finish that part, right? It was like
oh, okay. Oh,
for
so there were
clarification.
two different
Yeah,
DM
so
sessions,
first,
right? Okay.
basically, she reached me relatively quick. She reached me on Discord as the shitstorm was happening, right? Like as
Oh, so
everything that
as it
we
was
just
blowing up, she was there.
yes, I think like shortly is like not at the right second in the morning, but like somewhere around there. It's like I don't really remember, but it was like really quick, and I didn't know about her. It's like I didn't know who Alyssa was,
Right.
right?
You
Like
mentioned
so
you didn't know who she was when she approached, or
absolutely
who.
not. No, it's like she sent me a message and she's like like in a way like the same with because like there's a what is it called subtraction or friction between her and Mark, right? Like so
Yeah.
that's and like in a way it's like I I heard a little bit about Mark because like I seen his posts like they're very strong on X, but like again it's like
Yeah.
because we're busy. I'm staying busy. I'm creating things, right? Like so I'm
Right.
busy
So
with stuff. So I'm not like really going in that. In a way, it feels like
right.
shouldn't you know? Is like I don't think so, right? Like I mean, if you guys need me, call me, right? Like, but like
I think that's a huge misconception that people make about people on Twitter. They expect that everybody's always 100% tuned in
even
to
if
what's
it's
going
big,
on.
right? Like so sometimes I just like again, I have enough darkness in my life, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of hard things that I have to combat, including like the health, family,
Right.
work, and all that kind of stuff. Is like I
Yeah.
like in some cases I want to stay away from things, right? Like and it's like that's why it's like maybe not even like I'm just sliding through certain things. And as I said, it's like if I really can make a difference on something, is like call me. It's like or if I see that, it's like I will try to do my best, right? And
Yeah.
but yeah, but the point is I was not really familiar with her. It's like not at all. It's like with her
Right.
at all. And she's like, "Hey, I'm Alyssa from Kotaku. Want to take an interview?" And I was not even like following that. Like there's a lot of messages like, "Oh, like Alex it's made such a stupid decision. That's like Kotaku." He's like, I was like,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's like I just like never followed that. It's like I don't know that this is their thing, right? Like
Right.
that's what the people were saying. And it's like, and she's like, I want to talk to you. I'm a journalist, and I was like, sure, let's go. She's like, you ready now? I was like, yeah. I was like, let's go. It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like she wasn't probably even like surprised. It's kind of like with you, right? Like you just like want to have an interview. I was like, yeah, sure. When? It's like, let's do it. It's like I
Right.
don't
Right.
need to prepare what I'm gonna say. I'm just like
You
word
already know what
vomiting
you're gonna say.
machine, right? Like it's like I don't need like train or prepare. It's like she's been telling me you need to get a PR for some reason, like very often. It's like she's responding on things like that. Like I'm saying, like this is not how you interpret it. It's like this is like let me clarify. And it's like, and she's like, you need to get a PR. You need to get PR in the ways like and I was like, no. It's like absolutely no, because like PR is gonna misrepresent my points. It's
Oh.
like in a way, it's like what if they will, right? Like what if that
Mm.
person will say something that I don't agree? I will not be able to feel good betraying that person and go and say it's like, well, he didn't said that. Like this is not what I mean. It's like everything that I say is comes from me, right? Like, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
be like straightforward with that. And if I feel like that is a little bit like mistranslated, misrepresented, like I'm happy to clarify.
Okay.
But yeah, she reached me out and we jump on the call. And overall, as I said, like she was not hostile at all. It's like she was like the conversation was okay. You know, it was like kind of like I almost the same as how I have it with you. You know, it was like in a way,
Okay.
but the question were kind of like it felt very set up ish, right? Like so they're just like I feel like that's a trap.
I see. I
It's
see.
just like it just like yeah, like she's like you need to take sides. It's like what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It's like no, it's like I feel okay. It's like thank you. It's like I feel about this that way. I feel about that this way. But I don't want and it felt like yeah, like I don't know if she expected me to take her side or somebody else. Is like I feel like it doesn't really that matter for her. Like she
Right.
maybe she would be pleased to see me burning anyways.
Well,
So,
just so
but
you
yeah,
can have just so you
Yeah.
can have a little bit more context on how I or how people I interact with know Alyssa Mercanti. It's that she's a senior editor for Kotaku. Kotaku is kind of it's an outlet on its way out. It's going down in flames. They're trying to come up with a bunch of stories to make, but they've taken a lot of extreme stances, usually on the opposite side of whatever the argument is, especially when it comes to gamers. A lot more recently, they've taken just the opposite stance of gamers. She takes a lot of extreme stances on social media. She's said a lot of terrible things about gamers, about white
Yeah, I've
people,
seen some of the
and
terrible things that she's been
yeah,
saying. It's like afterwards
yeah,
is like, yeah, mhm,
yeah,
yeah.
and so I think just so people listening can have
Oh,
context to who we're
please,
talking
yes.
about, because not
Sorry
every
if I'm interrupted
no,
your
not at all. No,
thought
that's me
process. Yeah.
clarifying to you.
Mm.
Haha.
All right, sounds
But
good.
but
I'll
yeah,
take it. Mhm.
but there was so so that's how gamers kind of see Kotaku right now, and it's, people in the West are very familiar with Kotaku equals bad. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of the stance that people have, especially me. Um, and I think that one thing that I saw that was concerning about that story was that it seemed that she was trying to aim you in a direction where you were taking a side, or at least sticking it to
Sh
the other side of the argument.
Yeah, she
Would you
admitted
say?
that, like, she posted that publicly into my response. She was
Yes,
like, she called me naive for like,
naive in
because
saying
I
that, like, and you didn't
yeah,
or that you
yeah,
were,
because I said this, like in my opinion, we should strive to get united and find, like,
yeah,
things that connect us. And to her, that sounded too, I don't know, too nice. She's very combative, right? Like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like, I feel like that's not the ground that is acceptable. Even though, like, that screams loud, right? Like, when I'm calling for peace and saying is like, hey, I mean, I feel like instead of like fueling things, I was like, maybe we should find middle grounds, and that's like, that's naive, right? Like, so it tells
mhm,
you that, like, the stance is very strong, right? Like, so that, like,
right,
that's not in under kind of like, what's the good word, that's not even like on the mind, right? Like, so it's,
yeah, it's not
which
on
is
your
the
mind.
weaker
Okay.
word. It's like, yeah, it's like, and that's why it's like, I felt like, yeah, I mean, I'm okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you
Right,
for your offer.
and of course
Yeah.
she's wrong too that it's a naive position to take, because you guys were doing so well. You were, and it just being in you guys' world, developing your game before all of this kicked off, and you guys had the neutral position, just trying to make a
Yeah,
game.
I feel
So
like that, like, I'm not sure. It's like, but it feels like it feels like some kind of like dopamine hits or something like that.
mm,
Like, uh, in a way,
yeah,
it's like, why you're like that? It's like, it's like, because I come in peace. It's like, let's have a good conversation. It's like, if you're trying to help me, tell me that you're trying to help me. It's like, even during the interview, I said, it's like, well, I like it, like, I hope you will help. It's like
yeah,
that. It's like, I mean, I kind of like feel what you're doing is like, and it's like, and understand that was like very,
yeah,
very clear, like from the beginning, even though it's like I said that I didn't know her, but
yeah,
to me that was very clear that, well, and more than that, she actually, which shocked me a little bit. She said that, like, like, during the conversations, like, of course I understand her position, but she's like, I'm like, and I might like misquote, but she's kind of like, I'm a far left leaning, or left leaning liberal or something like that, right?
okay.
And that kind of surprised me, right? Like, because aren't you journalists? It's like, aren't that, it's like, isn't that like against of what you're doing? It's like,
You
it's
know,
kind of like, like if you're reporting something, it's like, we shouldn't know how you feel about it. It's like, if you're reporting something, that's called report, right? Like, you should just do your best and describe the story, and let
yeah,
your viewer understand and process that. I don't give a shit about what you think. You are a reporter. And it's like, please, yeah, like, try stay moderate with all of that. Is like I understand that like we all have our sides, right? Like so like but I feel like the reporter and journalism is such a job where you can't afford not having that. Otherwise, you're a bad reporter, right? Like even if you
Mm,
don't agree with something, you have to like self-contain. It's like you have to,
yes.
if that makes sense. I hope that makes
Yeah,
sense. It's
because
like,
because what happened was emotion was thrown into it, and then your words ended up getting twisted to imply that you were taking a side.
and that's when I feel like not comfortable because like again, it's um like if you have such a strong feeling and about something, not that I'm like on the other side of your, and I told her that as well. Is hey, I mean there's things that I agree with any kind of directions, right? Like so there's like because modern, and I told her it's like the hey, United States is like overall is like the modern world is very sick right now, right? Like we're very
Mm,
divided, and there's
yes.
people that like super far left, there's a people who are super far right, and
Yeah.
we are kind of like, if I wouldn't be afraid to even call it like kind of like World War III in a way. It's like just modern different, you know. It's like we're like we're so sick, you know. It's like
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
nation, it's just feels very toxic, you know.
And
It's
there's a
like
lot of good people caught in the middle too, normies, normal
and
people.
that's what I'm rooting for. Is like that's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Is like hey, I mean like and both sides sometimes have good ideas, right? Like, but like because they're so poisoned by their ideology, they
Yeah.
take it too far. You know, it's like
Right.
and that's why it's like it's hard for me to side with you or to choose your side. But I agree with some of the things that you're saying. I agree with some things even that you're not saying. You know, it's like I understand
Yeah.
where you're coming from, and I agree with some of it. You know, it's like
Right.
but and yeah, and that was my message. Yeah,
Right. So would you say, since this is probably something you probably wanted to clear up as well, you're not really against anybody. You're against the people who take the really
I'm
extreme
against
positions on
bad
things.
people. It's like
Bad
100%.
people. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
But
I mean, again, it sounds too kind of like too cute, too wholesome, or too naive, right? Like, but like again,
that's
I've
actually
been
just
raised
having
like
that's
that,
just that's
right?
good
Like it's
natured. That's just a normal
I
person.
had a great father, I have a great mother, is like, and I
Yeah.
had like great sisters and brothers. My entire life, I was raised on dignity, right, and respect.
Okay.
I consider myself a good person,
Okay.
and even if somehow these words might not be like fully true, I strive to be that, right? Honestly.
Yeah.
So hope
Right.
that makes sense. Mhm.
Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, I don't think that you're a particularly bad person. So I'm. I think
Now
that
that
I
man
I
is like,
think
yeah, yeah,
I honestly think that there's just been, if giving my opinion on this, I just think that
please. Very
you guys were
interesting.
just caught in the crossfire because, again, like you were saying earlier, there were people who were commenting on your stuff, giving you very extreme takes, and those it's not really fair because that's wrapped up in the general feedback. You've got people who support you, who don't support you, and then you've got the people who just take really weird extreme positions. Like you've got people who can be critical of you normally, but then other people who are taking that side of being critical, but then they're taking it way too far
And
and then making those other people look bad.
there's
Um,
some people that have been joining our Discord that really surprised me. There was that girl, I think, coming yesterday to our Discord with guns blazing, right? She's like,
mhm.
I just watched this video. Look what you guys saying. Look what are you doing. And it was like, come down. This is what we said. This is our stance on it. And it really surprised me how quick she changed her opinion, right? Like
Hmm.
that's like it literally changed within a line or two of the Discord messages.
Okay.
And that kind of tells me a lot about the marriage to your idea to on some people to their ideologies, right? Like
Okay.
they hear something, they get angry, and they stop at that, right? Like that's where I kind
Hmm.
of was telling her is like we need dialogue. Is like that's why I'm here. That's why I went with her. Is like it's like again, even though a lot of people just like, Alex, you fucked up. It's like, why do you do that? It's like,
Mm,
don't you know who she is? Well, first of all, I didn't know who she is, right? But the second thing is, I feel like we still need to talk in a way. Is like, of course, it's like I'm kind of like being betrayed if I go to someone and like we have a dialogue with them, and then there's like chop 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 chops, like your information can misrepresent you a little bit. But
right,
I'm a big proponent of like talking. Is like, that's like, I think that probably like maybe even like 101 in psychology, right? Like how many times we hear is like, hey, I mean, you have problems with your wife, or you problems with your kids, or anyone. It's like you start having problems when you're not talking, right? Like, and
right.
that's why I'm so open. It's like, maybe again, I'm a little bit like naive, and maybe getting abused a little bit of um, my opinion like that. But
Right.
mm,
Well, you
you know,
can,
so
and
yeah,
you can't always and you can't always trust, if those people are being genuine when they're coming at you with criticisms. I
I
think that one
learned
of the
hard
things.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, one of those comments I saw in your Discord said, they were like, "Oh, well, do you denounce, like, Mark Kern, Grums, and the movement, for Stellar Blade?" It's like, it has nothing to do with your game, but because Stellar Blade it has jiggle physics in the conversation, you're
I
you
can
guys are
ask
being
you equally hard questions about like other stuff. It's like, why do you choose me to answer things like that, right? Like, so
right.
it's like, and I told her that as well. It's like, because that's kind of was kind of one of her questions, right?
Okay.
And my vulgar statement where I threw fucks around, right? Like, was, I will get to that, but the question was like, do kind of like in the ways like, is that something that, it's like, no, it's like, I need more time to spend and understand what's going on in order for you to give like measured answers, right? Like,
Mm,
because like, as I said, this, like, I was not following what's going on, and like some of these things I see, and we talk with her, and I express her my vision, and it's kind of like matching yours, because I think like if you're directing something, right,
mhm.
sometimes those things can be vulgar, right? Like, they just need to, like, again, there's people that directing erotic movies. Is that bad, right? Like, or like, because that's kind of like, in a way, can be very artistic, right? If the question is like, how elegant things like that, and then the hypocrisy comes to this, right? After I start
Okay.
learning about like who she is, and how she communicate with people on Twitter, and I was like, oh wow, it's like, and under the questions is like, and you guys are actually talking about like my post, where I believe like there was a post where she was like offering to shell like a Wii remote in her butt for like $50, and somebody even like sent her like $50, and I was like, I mean,
That is just mind blowing.
that feels bitter, right? Like, that just feels like, why are you like that, right? Like,
Mm.
why do you choose like me for this? And that's why it's like that's why I'm saying, it's like, I don't understand it. Is there like some kind of like dopamine hits that you get by doing this? Like, like,
I you
why do
know,
you want to have that? Yes.
I think that a lot of people I think a lot of people in the media,
Hmm.
and a lot of people who support those movements that the media are supporting, I think they're very desperate to coattail, or to chase the tail of, whatever stance that gamers are taking, because these
That's very
things, these
sad.
controversies.
It's like very
Yeah,
sad people. It's like, in a way, it's like if and sometimes I talk to I have a business partner, great guy, Sasha. Like, he's my partner and like best friend, right? Like, so,
yeah.
and sometimes we talk with him, and it's like, I feel like, it's like, if you're doing something and you're not sincere with yourself, it's like, I feel like you're a very sad person, right? Like, if, and
Mm,
that brings us to like, if you doing something, and especially if that's like not with good intent, and stuff like that, and you know that you're doing, because I have a feeling that some of these people probably feel that they're doing that
that they're
right,
doing the right
right? Like,
thing.
exactly.
They
And
believe
but
in it.
I have the
Yeah.
same time, I have a feeling that like some of them probably know, right? Like, somebody probably just like kind of like a bad actors,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and
Plenty of
that's where I'm
those.
saying is like exactly. That's where I'm saying is like how sad that is, right? Like just to be that kind of person where it's like you're not honest with yourself. Like, but
Yeah.
anyways,
It
I
is.
don't want to like some of this. might sound like I don't want to be above anyone, right? Like, so I'm just expressing my vision, but like, again, I have plenty to learn. I have plenty to strive to be better. It's like, but like, again, kind of getting closer to 40 years, and like, since I had my first kid, I feel like something clicks in your head, and you start developing a little bit faster, more mature, and I start seeing things differently, right? And
Okay.
that's probably age, or it's like, or anything. And so some of the speech can be a little bit philosophical.
You know
So
what? You're making me
I hope,
super excited for the age of 40. I can't wait, you know?
right? It's like, well, I'm 37. I'm not 40 yet, but like, I feel like I'm 60, to be honest. It's like, because I think, like,
Oh, okay, okay.
because all of this that we're experiencing with like internet, and it's like, I think like our brains are aging much faster. And I just like
Right,
look at my dad, and like, I just can't. In a way, I'm jealous, right? Like, it seems like
yeah.
you're much older than me, but I feel like I sometimes feel worse than you. It's like, physically, He's like, and that's another thing, is like with all of this, is like, I've been calling, like, called names, and I've seen it all. It's like, especially like after her article went live, there was a guy like threatening to come to our office that scared my
Oh my
my new
goodness.
girl as well. Is like, and I was like,
Oh,
and it's like, yeah, people been calling. It's like, somebody's like said something like, toxic masculinity about me and things like that. It's like, and it's like, dude, it's like, I'm trying to stay in a good shape because I want to feel good. It's like, there's like, that's actually opposite from toxic. It's like, I
yeah,
actually feel toxic when I'm not exercising, because I just recently started like, having a healthy diet and routine. And it's like I have like health problems, and it's like, some of us, like, you don't know us, right? Like, you think that like
right.
there's some guys like in the good shape, and it's just like, he's just like toxic or something. It's like, no, it's like, I actually have some health issues, and it's like, we need to exercise, some of us. I think like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like segueing too far from our
No, no.
dialogue. It's like, yeah, please ask
I think
me.
you actually I
Mhm.
think you make a really good point, that there's, the perception is all off for a lot of people, like, sometimes people forget that, behind the scenes when people are developing games or doing anything really, they're normal people, a lot of them are just normal people trying to just make a game. And then, when a controversy comes around with a bunch of people demanding that you take one side or the other, they take your words and then they'll just say, well, he's saying sorry because he believes in, the DEI push, for example, diversity, equity, inclusion. Or then some people say that you did it, out of fear. No one really knows the true story unless they dig a little deeper, because
Well,
if people, yeah.
you know why? Is because we're very tribal, right? Like, just like naturally, and we all
Hmm.
hate losing. And when you take teams, you kind of like some people go really far to not feel like they're losing, and that's why, as like,
Mm,
some of it is becoming radical, you know.
you're right.
So yeah,
Which can sometimes lead into, the things like interviews. They can just kind of be led into trying to fit a certain narrative rather than
of
just getting a
course,
story.
that
Yeah.
brings us to wanting to win, right? Like,
Right.
I want that to make, to earn me points, it's like in my agenda and things like that. So
Okay.
absolutely, I 100%
Well,
agree. Yeah.
then out of curiosity, just for my sake, I was wondering if you
Mhm.
did, just based on everything you've said and everything you've kind of learned about everything, how do you feel about the apology that's up there right now? Like on so because I can totally understand the internal apology. That was just you trying to internally deal with the situation. But I was curious as to your thoughts. Do you think that that apology was more you or more the pressure, in your opinion? From your view.
Right. Um, I would say it's like, probably, is like a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
Like, because as I started our conversation, is like, if we're really hurting our fans in a way that, like, is like this is something that they don't want to see, and
Mhm.
during the pressure, is like, again, is like, we're still gonna like, analyze it and understand it, but like, in a way, it's like, it's really hard, because it's very dividing thing. I see that a lot of people have like, that's another thing, is like, like,
Yeah.
like, a lot of people feel bad about it, but because they feel kind of like betrayed. Is like, there's like, well, like, this is like, it's undeserved, like you shouldn't do it, and things like that. And I think
Do
it
you do
was.
you think do
Mm,
you think
mhm.
that your post, or do you think that that apology hurt, like, in your honest opinion, do you think that you hurt, like, the majority of your fans with that, or that you hurt a segment of them? Or do you, or 'cause,
Well, when we posted that, right? Like, so that's why it's like when we had that conversation, is like during that hit, during that pressure, is like that was sounding something reasonable to do, right? Like, and like
Mhm.
I sincerely didn't know. It was like
Okay.
because I didn't really know how many people we upset, right? Like, so and then after analyzing, it was like it seems like the most people that were most upset about it are just joined the Discord, and
Yeah.
I'm not
People
sure if
who've
they're
never heard
still.
about the game.
Yes, I mean, I don't know if they heard about it, or maybe they're like, we have like some lurkers. You know those people that
Right,
like,
yeah, like,
you have like 7,000 people on Discord and 13 active,
true.
and all of you
Very
guys
true.
like and subscribe, right? It's like a little life. Like that's
Right.
how it usually go. But yeah, it's like I'm not sure if they've been following, if they loved it, if they liked it. But the fact is that after looking at things, and even like looking at your video, and it's like I mean, that's why I reached you, right? Like, like just saying like, hey man, like, it seems like not many uh, did decent report on this, right? I said
Yeah.
that a lot of people, like even like some media websites, just went and is like, and a lot. I see a lot of people like rolling their eyes, just calling. It's like, why do we need cozy like this in cozy game or farming game? And it's like they just
Mm.
don't put any effort in understanding who we are, what we do, and they just like do some kind of lazy approach. They see the word farm in it and it says farm folks, and well, it's another farming game. Well, actually, no, because when like I see that, it's like they roll eyes, like, oh, another farming game, right? Like, actually, no. It's like
Yeah, the
if you
things
would
I've
do
heard,
your
it's not
research.
just a farming game.
Exactly. It is. It's like it's designed to please you, like all the farming lovers. It's like, and at the same time, we're actually expanding on this. So we're not trying to be another one. We're trying to be,
Right.
because like I seen many times. There's like, why does even like farming game needs this, or it's like or cozy game needs this? Well, because we progress, like we think that this is natural, as we discussed with you earlier. It's like it's not done like to like upset anyone, or it's not just done even though it was presented with the joke. We didn't treat it as a joke, right? Like, so um I hope it's like in a way, it's like because it's kind of like uh, because it was with the joke, and it's like we kind of
Yeah.
like joked about it, right? Like, so but like the 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 mechanic itself in the game is not planned to be anywhere is like close to a joke. So as I said, it's like we develop tools, and you guys
Right.
play the game the way you want. And if you want to joke with something, we not necessarily have control of like things that you're gonna do in our game that then like you can blame us doing it. It's like, well, it's sick you're doing it. It's like if you
Yeah.
think it's horrible, it's bad, and it's like you're using something that was not designed for that. It's like, then again, that's a hypocrisy, right? Like just
Yeah, I think
blame yourself.
I
Yeah.
personally think that, like, people need to chill out and just stop getting so offended over jokes. It really is a joke, and, oh, and by the way, somebody some people comment, I was wondering if you guys had thought of this. Have you guys maybe, considered just doing a breast slider? Somebody suggests, I'm like, "That actually sounds like a pretty easy, workaround for that thing." Just add a breast,
Well,
slider to the.
we're actually working on, and that's like one of the big feature requested by fans. Because what we're also doing is like, I think like I didn't really touch bases on that much. Is like we bringing a lot of customization. Something in my like
Yes, I
we're
was gonna
doing.
ask you about that, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of customization. So like that's where the Sims kind of coming from, inspirations from Sims, because I love that game. It's like that's like
Yeah.
one of my favorite games. I would say is like in a
Oh,
way, it's like
I was evil in The Sims. The things I did to my poor characters.
I started playing.
Oh,
It's like I'm overall like very like I love games where you play with life in a sense, right? Like, so some
yeah,
kind of like mini simulations. I love like Prisoner Architect, like that kind of games where
okay.
like you kind of like craft things, connect, build, create yourself. It's
Right.
like, and then it's like, and that's why it's like I'm I'm making game for myself. The Farm Folks is something that I love doing. It's like it's not just commercial product. Like I'm not just trying to like put things
Yeah,
together. This is something
it's your
that I
thing.
love. Yeah, and we're bringing from Sims all the customizations, and we're trying kind of like to hit the level of fidelity on everything that we do on the level, overuse of word level, on the level not experienced before, right? Like because there's I also mentioned great games like Satisfactory and Factorio, right? Like we have automation in the game, and automation in the game is actually it's green and nice and beautiful. So
Mhm.
instead of going for the green smokes in your factories, we're actually going for green energy that you can generate from solar or wind, and then you can harvest products from animals or from crops and deliver them on conveyor lines. So it's kind of like those games mixed together, and we're bringing Sims to that because you can build anything you want in the games. Like we have modular buildings
Right.
system. We actually going to have a live stream in a few days. If you guys are not going to cancel me for this interview, it's like I invite you to join.
Dreadroberts cancels Farm Folks.
All right, it's like, wouldn't that be your title in the thumbnail?
I know, like
But
worst interview ever, and it's just like us being chill in the interview.
yes, hopefully not. Again,
No, no, I wouldn't do that.
for
No,
give.
but that is still really funny though. Oh my goodness.
Yes, but the point is, so we're trying to bring the great things from Sims and allow Sims lovers experience it from different perspective, literally, right? Like because like
Mm,
in Sims, you're playing it from the top down, and it's like your views, which is again amazing game, love it so much,
yeah.
is good. But that's what inspiring me, and we want to give we want to lower that camera, right? Like
Hmm.
and allow you to leave with your friends and actually build rooms, put wallpapers, change different colors on the walls, choose different wooden trims, kind of like what I have here is like and it's like choose different sofas, choose different materials, choose different colors. Like just sofa has, I believe, like 20 inputs of like what we can change at this point. Like we kind of gonna like limit it so just for user experience uh like things, but like yeah, so we're bringing all of that and we're kind of like merging it, and I feel like it just plays well together, right? Like so
Yeah.
it just like farming makes sense to have great customization where you want to build like beautiful houses. Like we have like different like windows that you dynamically place anywhere on the wall. You can build like church size houses, so, like almost with no limits, and then you have cute animals and plants that you can harvest. Everything is like drives on conveyor lines, packs in the boxes, and you feed the village that like there's going to be a story, there's going to be a quest. They request that, and at the same time you can do it all by hand, like remove conveyor lines, remove machines, and just enjoy it the way you would want to enjoy it in a cozy game, right? Just put the nice
Okay.
music,
Very
like
interesting.
plant things, build things, customize things. Don't engage in other things. So we're developing these tools, but it's up to you how you're gonna play. And if you do stupid things, it's like how will we predict that, right? And that brings us to the slider thing. So our characters were working on morphing, right? And morphing will be actually linked to physics, and like that's just naturally some people would have uh, want to have stronger cheekbones or bigger nose, smaller nose, bigger eyes, and like that applies to breasts, and that applies to butts, that applies to thighs, that applies to shoulders.
Right.
So we're
Which
gonna
nobody
have
has a problem
sliders.
with.
Yes, we're gonna have
Yeah.
sliders.
Very cool. Yeah.
Many.
I
I
I know a lot of people were wondering, it's like, it seems like this could all be fixed with the slider. I'm like, I mean, that's probably what they're gonna do, but I'm just gonna ask just because I wanna
yeah, no, we're sticking to like again, it's like the entire debacle was about how we presented it, right? Like the but
yeah.
like it seems like the people that even I spoke with Alyssa is like I specifically asked her, is like, what do you think about it? And she's like, dude, it's so totally cool. I mean, she mentioned that she's been playing with like I hope I'm maybe not quoting her, but he's been playing with penises in different games, and she's happy with that. It's like, it's like, and
You know what? Good
yeah.
for Alyssa.
I mean, again, I'm on the side where it's like if like again, your mature audience is like this is not like I would be first in line if this was like the game tailored for
I
kids
think
or
that a lot of
something
people
like that,
don't
you
know
know?
that. I think a lot of people don't know that your game is going to be rated M for mature. I think some people have said that
Well,
it's
it's
like
not
going to
gonna
be.
be like rated R or something like that,
Well, of
you know?
course not. No.
But it is for 10 and above, right? Like that's when you like you familiar with women physics, right? Like
Yeah,
not in a sexual way, but like as I said, it's like
where you
it's
can play while having self control and not like freak out at the
it's
sight of the
not
lady.
vulgar, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not like over exaggerated. And even it's like if somebody have like some kind of visions they want to make the games like that, it's like again, as long as you're clear about your intent and you understand your community understand what you're doing. And it's like again with us, like you can kind of like apply that to us, but we're doing our best. Is like we're literally using the descriptions on like updating descriptions on our websites, not after this storm, right? But before is like that's why I kind of like surprised like guys, we're doing our best to describe the game and
Mhm.
make sure that people understand what to expect. But some of them are just not paying attention to that. They just like put the clause on like farm. And I spoke with some of my team members, and I was like, guys, I feel like we need to get rid of that farm word from the name. And it's like I recently was saying it's like kind of makes sense. Fun folks is like
You were thinking about changing the fun folks.
yeah. But like we're just like kind of like feel attached to it at this point. It's like like it just feels like kind of like I don't
you
know. It's like
know,
when you use it so
in
much,
my
you know.
oh, I'm sorry. Go on. You use it so
Oh no,
much.
no,
What?
I'm made my point. Yeah, you're good.
Well, I think the farm folks is a great name because it implies that yes, you're going to get into a farm simulator, but like the surprise is once you start playing it.
That's
So
what I felt as well. Is like when I start working, and I feel like the crazier the surprises are, the better it is almost, right? Like so
yeah,
it's kind of like the name almost makes it feel smaller, but the actual game is bigger, right? Like so
exactly.
and
I love when
and
games do that.
yeah, and that's like was my direction with that is like by living it because like we have it, but like then I felt like we've been like kind of like trying to convey that message better, and it feels like we just like been hitting a little bit of wall with that, you know. It's like
Yeah,
it just like hurts a little bit seeing is like when everybody's coming, it's like so, oh it's like it's like gonna be like Stardew Valley. It's like I love Stardew Valley. It's like yeah, we all love Stardew Valley, and you're gonna have elements like in Stardew Valley, but this is not Stardew Valley, you know. It's like
right.
so you're gonna have relationship with characters, you're gonna meet them, but like based on everything that I'm saying is like I just can't say that this is going to be like a Stardew Valley game. You know, it's going to have elements of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, I think actually that's probably we're probably reaching that time.
Hey, 30
So
minutes, huh? It was like, that's
it's
what
like
you got promised me.
when you're having fun, time just kind of flies, right? Um,
I felt tired, but it's like since we started talking, it's like I just feel okay. Again, I hope again I'm like just if you will allow me, is like I will make my like final statement before we start wrapping up. But like I don't want it to be like anything like special, but
please
that's
do. Please
yeah,
do. Yeah, and then I
yeah,
have a follow-up question after that.
yeah, of course. Yeah, with like intent with our game like with previous one as well. So the universum had some it's actually full of jokes, right? Like the game
Mhm.
is full of like mature jokes and things like that. And it's like that game also looks kind of like cute, but it can be shocking. And I feel like if you're a creator, right? Like you love like the real creators. We I use the word we. It's like I don't know. It's like you guys. It's up to you to call me big names or something. But like I think it's maybe not that big. But like my goal is to for you to experience emotions in my games, right? Like and laughter and fun is one of the strongest one, and and another one is sadness, right? Like so like when you feel upset about something that happens in the game, and this is kind of like what we strive for. This is kind of like what we're trying to achieve with my game is like our game. I'll not call it my game because again I have amazing team working, it like very good people. It's like very nice. And Alyssa even like wanted to make sure to ask how many girls has working on this game, and I believe it was like we have 9 currently.
Oh, so you have
Not
9 ladies. Okay.
yes, yeah. Not that I don't think that really matters, but like I'm
It
kind of
doesn't.
like right. It's like I think like we're close to like 20 people, and at some point when we started, it's like we have like more girls working on the game than the guys, and um, I appreciate them a lot. It's like I think like um, I don't know. It's like they do a really great job. It's like we connect really well. But I'll get
Good.
back to my point of um, so the point is not just to make a dry game, right? Like, so it's going to be spiced up with jokes. Some of them probably will be edgy. We always will strive to be delicate, not to like in a good way, right? Like you can say it's like, oh, you want to ban jokes, is like, or good jokes, is like, no, but we don't want to do like go too far with that, right? Like
Mm,
to hurt you and things like that. So we want to have jokes. They're going to be like more like semi-mature humor. You know, it's like as I said, it's not going to be like rated R, but like it's going to be like like teen plus and things like that.
no
But
NC-17 game or anything like that,
right, and again,
or adults
like we
only.
don't have any intentions to like hurt anyone. Of course, it's like again, as I said, it's like um my goal is more to like I love talking. It's like you see, it's like I can talk all day. It's like
Yeah.
and I love connecting with people. It's like more than that, I feel like I'm studying them all the time. So I love like this word that's been hijacked by both groups is like diversity. Diversity is like and it's like that's I love that, right? And she asked me, is like what do you think about that? It's like what do you think about like diversity? I was like, I'm all for that. It's like that's my game. It's like don't call it cozy, don't call it anything. Call it like if you will call it diverse game, like or diverse. Like it has because we're designing it to give you tools to be who you want to be, right? Like you can
Right.
choose to, and make your character how you want them to look like. And then you guys getting upset on certain things, and it's like you support other things. It's like, but I want to support almost like give you tools to create what you want as long as you're not hurting other people. Is like again, it's like I will try to protect that. It's like and
Yeah.
remove that. But the entire point is, yeah, we're trying to create this sandbox that everybody can join and be themselves, right? And like you will see my directions with certain things, and hopefully I will do good job. Otherwise, you can skip that and do the cozy farming. It's like, hope that makes sense. It's like again, it's like there was
It
never
does.
intent to hurt anyone. I mean, of course, we respect and love our ladies, especially we're like I communicate with them on a daily basis, right? Like I'm very
Yeah.
respectful and love them. It's like I have a wife, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
again, again, it's like at the end of the day, it like I think like you should respect everyone. Doesn't matter if it's a lady or a guy, right? Like it doesn't
Yes.
matter. It's like it's like I respect. It's like if we upset anyone on other side of the aisle, it's like the same thing, same issue. It's like we're trying to not to. It's like yeah,
No, I totally see. I no, I and I actually agree with you. And then, at the same time, people like coming into Discord and stuff and, just dealing with all of that. I think it's also just important to remember that, ultimately this is your vision. So you should be able to do what you want with it. And if you have the people on board that support you and your vision, then, by all means stick to it because the reality is that there are going to be a lot of people who just don't like your game and then don't like you for no reason at all, even if some other people have really good reasons. And so that's why and why while I acknowledge that it's really tough to navigate this space, especially social media, and you're not sure who's genuine, who's not, who's out to get you and who isn't. It's just it's always important to just be vigilant and just properly vet those people so that you have people in your circle that are trying to help you fulfill your vision. You know what I mean?
yes,
That
yes.
that
No,
are
I
helping you do
that
your thing.
like
I'm sure you already know that, but
yeah, and I'm not trying to say that like everything that we're doing is like how we respond to things is correct, and it's like
right,
a lot
right,
of
of
a lot of
course,
like call outs is like I'm listening closer. I'm reevaluating my view on things as well.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm not trying to pretend that like, hey, is like because maybe that like how I sounded through this, but like the goal was more to express myself than to pretend that I know. It's like
yeah.
like
You're
I'm
just trying to
still
do your best. Yeah,
yes, I'm still open to learn and understand, and like I force myself in a lot of cases kind of to think that might be wrong about certain things, it's like,
Mm.
or it might be actually a bad word to use in this case, right? Because I am wrong with certain things, it's like, and that, because that happens, is like, there was a lot of times in my life where I felt so very strong about my opinion on something, and
Yeah.
then it crashed you when it's actually like I was defending it so strongly, and then actually you were wrong. And
Mm.
like, I think it's important to acknowledge when that happens to you, because I think a lot of people maybe just like sliding through that, and I think that what makes you like better person, like at the end.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
you live and you learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
man,
I
yeah, was nice chatting with you. Again, it's like, to be honest, I don't know much about you, and it's like I didn't have time to like prepare or learn what you do. Is like, I would love to, like, again, keep in touch if you have more questions. I seen that you're like relatively new, so I'm not doing this really for like some kind of like crazy promotion, because like you're you're doing okay. I think like you're growing, and but
yeah, I mean, I've got a little something going on, nothing crazy, but I wanted to offer you someone who can try to see things unbiased. I have opinions on certain things, but one of my biggest things is that I want on an honest dialogue too. I want to be able to sit down and talk with people that I disagree with, and then some, people I do agree with. I just think that, like you said, dialogue is important. Communication is key to a lot of things. And so,
yes,
and yeah, I'm on the side of gamers. I'm particularly anti-censorship. I'm always dunking on Sony and the big gaming companies and studios that are doing crazy things. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to have a dialogue, and that doesn't mean that I can just watch these media vultures just swarm down on an innocent game developer who are just trying to do their thing and rip them apart, as well as social media, without at least having proper context. And it seems like you guys are just trying to make a game, and it's a game with great ideas. And then you guys have been doing your thing, and you just got caught into a crossfire. That's how I see it. Apology letter people can try to make an argument for, but at the end of the day, not to put you down or anything, but intimidation is real. People just they do and say terrible things, and sometimes, like, when you're
no,
hunkered
I'm
down
I'm
trying to,
I'm easily, yeah. It's like, I'm not saying it's
yeah,
like I'm super strong. It's like, no, it like things can be scary. It's like when, because
it
like, again,
happens.
there's like there's a comfort. There's like I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't want to lose it. It's like, and at the same time, it's like
Yeah.
it feels really bad when like you're misrepresented. It's like it's all played together. It's like, and that's why it's like, yeah, it's like, as much as I want to be strong, sometimes things are getting pretty tense.
Yes,
But
indeed.
yeah, is, as I said, it's like, again, it's like, happy to have an interview. It seems like you're very like reasonable person, right? Like, because I was kind of like thinking, it's like I don't want to get like somewhere too far. I've been like too far, not like politically, but
Yeah.
like, because there's a different kind of people online, and I just didn't have time to study any of you guys. I've been getting a lot of interview requests.
Okay.
Mark himself reached me as well. So he's like, "Hey, want to connect like next week," and things like that. So,
Well,
like,
if you would like, I'll actually vouch for Mark. He's like me. I've seen him talk on streams. He's like me in the sense that he'll sit down and have a conversation, but he also has lots of knowledge in the gaming industry. He was one of the OG guys with World of Warcraft. I mean, he's had a history. So I think that you guys would probably have a really interesting dialogue, because I actually come into a lot of this from a normie perspective. But
mhm.
Mark Kern actually, like, he's been in, like, he's been around and seen a lot of things, and so you guys would probably enjoy talking, honestly. Like, that's just my opinion.
We'll see. Yeah, yeah. Again, it's like, there'll be like like felt a little bit like, I'm not sure. It's like it felt like, well, it's like, it seems like a lot of people now want to talk to me because of this. And yeah, I just didn't really have time. It's like, I'm not sure if this is the best direction. So I'm kind of like taking a risk in a way. It's like
True,
coming here to talk with you,
true.
because again, I might be naive. It's like, and then it's like, tomorrow I wake up and everybody eats me alive for like, hey, I mean,
Dread.
you did, yeah. It's like again, I'm doing this with good intentions, right? Like, and
Right.
if and I told that to Alyssa as well. I was like, if life is a bitch, life is a bitch, right? Like, so it's just like what I can do. It's like I'm
Yeah.
just trying my best. It's like if it comes back biting me, so be it, right? Like, so hopefully I will be strong enough to roll over it and
No,
continue.
man, it'll be great, and we're gonna go ahead and end it. But I want to point out, like your people did reach some of your people reached out to me, and they just seem like kind people who's just like looking out for their dude.
I'm not
So
sure it's like who's reaching you out. It's honestly, it's like not part of it, but like want to thank them, like especially it's like I think like maybe it's important to actually thank our community
yeah,
people. Is like we have like because like some people start attacking some of them as well,
yes,
and they are actually like all the moderators they're community contributors, so that means like we're not really like pay them or train them, they're just enjoying
wow,
being part of it. And when people are attacking them, I feel really bad because like even if they like that's kind of like the challenge, right? Like if they say something is like like they attach it to me, so my CEO title is also very like strong thing, right? Like so that I have to care like across on me because
yeah,
everybody is start assuming that this is like CEO is like it's a corporation. There's like a big red evil chair. It's like
yeah,
and he's like getting coffee made every morning. He's like, no, I don't drink coffee and I make my own tea, right? And more than that, I work with my team. It's everything that you see is like UI design is like because I have a skill, I do it myself. So everything in the game, so I part of it. So we're very like together on that. But anyways, I think like yeah, it's like well, there's a lot I can talk about. It's like but I think like yeah, let's wrap it up. It's
yeah,
what
yeah. Let's
oh
wrap it
shit,
up. So
it's like
when
1 a.m. It's like yeah.
yeah,
Hopefully
no
my
problem.
brain was like operating. I was surprised when I saw my transcript how many times it's like, I was like kind of embarrassed on the quality of my English, and I was like, wow, that sounds like so
You know
horrible.
what?
Like
I've been
hopefully
living in
it
the
was like
states.
kind of
I've
yeah.
been I've been living in the states like my whole life. I still mess up my own English. It happens.
Yeah, well, I hope it's just like something that is processable, right? Like so that you guys more or less can live through this, and hopefully my points
Oh
are
no, that was
pertinent.
dude, that
Yeah,
was a great conversation. Like I think everyone's going to understand you well. And I just want to ask before we take off,
sure.
when do you guys have a planned release date for your game and prices, stuff like that?
For the farm folks, like we're thinking about like launching Kickstarter to help us to add little extra features. Like it's definitely not going to cover our expenses, but it will help us to attract new community, well,
Okay.
new members and things like that. And we're thinking about launching it pretty soon. So I don't know. It's like we're kind of working hard. This events are derailing us a little bit because like it
Hmm.
didn't really work, you know and but there's like certain time during the year we want to launch it, and if we miss it we might like delay it a little bit. But overall, farm folks is probably going to be launched some kind of access, like people will start playing it. I'm thinking in 2025 for sure.
Cool.
So
So
I
not
mean
too far away.
that's
Not too far.
like I said for sure, but like I think yes, because like things might change, right? Like somebody might would want to make it like bigger or something. It's like, but again, it's like so far, no. I think like in 2025 we'll start rolling it in. It's like we're first going to have like some closed tests. So
Okay.
limited amount of people. We'll let them try it because like we don't want to get bombarded with like negative reviews or something like that. We want to make sure to test it with close people to understand that they like it, it's good, and if it's good then we'll continue like adding more and more people.
All right. Totally awesome. No, man.
Yeah,
So one more time before we leave, could you just tell everyone who you are and and what you are in charge of, and then we'll end it right there.
yeah. I'm Alex Koshelkov, and I work at Crytivo. I found yeah Crytivo back in 2014, and since then we released one game, we published a few great games out there, and now we're working farm folks, and you all are invited to join our either Discord or follow us on Twitter.
Yes, I will
It's gonna
leave
be fun.
those, and I'm going to leave
Mhm.
those in the description as well, so that people can
And
get those. If
hopefully we all can get along and be friends. It's like
That's right.
it's just yeah.
Well, thanks, Alex, so
Absolutely.
much for coming on tonight, man. And yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch. And I just hope you get some rest.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope I will have calm weekend because the week was pretty stressful. So hopefully we'll see. But thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, was nice chatting with you.
All right, Alex, you have a good one. I'll see you later.
Yep. Bye bye.